What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and today's video is going to be a little bit of a Madden experiment for franchise mode, especially for those guys that just rely heavily on the sim. We learned in the last realistic rebuild of the Cleveland Browns with a rookie quarterback that we were able to put up MVP type numbers, win multiple MVP awards just by having the scheme of our offense be spread and our playbook be spread. So what I'm going to try to do here today is take some of the worst offenses, some weird combinations, and see if just changing everything to spread will it miraculously give you a higher probability of becoming an MVP, which is very tough to do in this game, and give all of your players godly numbers and a bunch of XP. Let's find out. Alright, so going off what we saw with Baker Mayfield, one would be led to believe that regardless of what you play with your team in terms of talent, in terms of just personnel, as long as the offensive playbook is spread and offense is spread, you will do fine. So here's what we're going to do. What we have here is we're going to do a simulation amongst, I think I have 4 simulations on top that we're going to do just to verify. So this is the base Cleveland Browns playbook, base Cleveland Browns team. We're starting with the day 1 rosters. We're, one of the worst offense. Still not the worst offense. The worst offense goes to the Jets, and we will definitely try them out in a second. But we're going to go through the very end of the season, see what their stats are, and then just with the exact same roster, go with the spread. So at the end of the season, with default everything, the Browns finished 4-2, and Shawn Kaiser finished with 3,500 passing yards, 22 TDs, 12 picks. That's actually not that bad. Running the ball, we got 904. Receiving, we got a 1,000-yard receiver here in Josh Gordon. Again, not the hottest roster to use, but you know what? I would say for the point of this video, more so by the end, is to find out if you're just making a rebuild with a really bad team and you kind of want to simulate the first couple of years and have some of your players do good, because you might not have the answer, spread offense is going to be cheap. So this is a base. That's actually not bad. So let's do the exact same thing, but with the playbook and the offensive formation and all that stuff being spread, how the results differ. And with this simple switch to the spread, we went 10-6. We ended up making the playoffs. Kaiser has, well, not a whole lot of XP, but 14,000 plus 2. Looking at the stats here. This Shawn Kaiser, 4,800 passing yards, 35 touchdowns to 19 interceptions. Running back stays the same. It's very rare to get a running back over 1,000. I mean, we had Saquon Barkley in that very first Browns when our team was stacked, and I don't think he ever broke 1,000 total rushing yards. But look at that. Ricardo Lewis, wide receiver 3, usually goes off. Joku had a big year. Gordon had a big year. Let's look at the awards here. Yearly awards, MVP, Dak Prescott. But just like there we go. We got Kaiser on the short list. This is probably the only thing that's not super consistent, I would say, is the MVP award. But your quarterback will always outperform what would happen if you're going with something base. So that is just the Browns. That's the base Browns. Let's try another team out here. Can our little scheme here make Joe Flacco elite? So here's the base. Nothing done with the Ravens. We end up going 7-8-1. There's still a really good team that's a playoff caliber in terms of really the defense. As Joe Flacco, 3,700 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. We had, didn't even break a 1,000-yard rusher here in Alex Collins. And no 1,000-yard receivers. Perriman was the closest with 971 and 6. So can switching everything here just to spread make Joe Flacco an elite quarterback and or help the Ravens make the playoffs? Let's find out. And with a spread offense, the Baltimore Ravens went 11-5 with a, look at that, +2 to Joe Flacco. We got AFC North winning. Look at this. This is what Joe Flacco did. 5,100 passing yards, 37 touchdowns to 20 interceptions. Didn't break a 1,000-yard rusher, but look at this. Receivers, 2,000 yards. Mike Wallace, 83 catches, 1,300 yards. We got almost 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns for Rashad Perriman. Looking at the MVP award, Flacco's on here, I guarantee it. There you go, number 4. So, I mean, I guess one thing we've been able to find is you don't automatically win the MVP, but you get on that short list, and if you actually build up a decent team around them, like none of these offenses have the best supporting cast, you will probably, I would say with how much Madden I've played, with like 80% confidence, if you have a good offense, not a great one, but a good one, and a quarterback in this scheme, you will get that MVP award. But until then, you are absolutely hoarding XP for everyone on your offense. So let's do one last scenario. What will this do to the worst offense in Madden? The worst offense in Madden belongs to the Jets. I think they have a 75, which is like 4 points less than the Cleveland Browns starting offense. But then, McCown had a pretty serviceable year. So what we did was went with the worst starting quarterback in the National Football last year with an appropriate rating, which we now have right here. And we're going to see what this offense does with the base and what they could do for the spread. Now, this will be a fairly accurate representation if you're trying to take the worst team and build them up into your own, or if you just want to get real out there and go with, like, you know, some random quarterback you end up drafting in the first round. You know, it seems to be average QB that's solid is between 65 and 68, so we'll go with the low end of 65 and see what they can do on the worst offense in the league. Alright, so here are the results, non-spread, looking like a lot of red here, team not performing very well. We still got 3 wins. I guess shout out to the Jets defense. Dak Prescott, 3,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, which is, you know, if he was on any other team, not Dallas, he probably had those kind of stats this year. Did not hit a 1,000-yard rusher here in Matt Forte. Did not get a 1,000-yard receiver. Our Darius Stewart was the closest with 964 and 3. Now let's do the same spin with the spread offense. And at season's end, with the worst offense in the game, with the worst quarterback, we went 8-8 and made the playoffs in the wild card. Still some negatives, you know, you're going to have those here and there, but second in the AFC East. Luckily enough, the division sucked. But look at this. With a terrible quarterback, with the spread, still 4,400 passing yards, 28 touchdowns to 18 interceptions. Receiving, we have 2,000-yard receivers. Our Darius Stewart with 1,100 yards, 1,200 yards, rounding up 12 touchdowns, 1,000 for Curse. No, for this might be pushing it for the yearly awards, MVP. He did. Okay, he did. What about offensive player? Did we at least get somewhere on this? AFC Offensive Player of the Year. Okay, well, you know, he's a 65 overall quarterback. Still, the results are showing for themselves. So, in summary, what you get here is an extreme probability, if you're not going to like the extreme lengths like we did here with the worst offense and a 65 overall quarterback. If you actually have a decent team in a rebuild or in your franchise mode built up, and you're just finding no matter what, when you play the sim, if you're just strictly simming, the spread offense playbook, personally, I'm not a huge fan of it, but if you're just doing it from a sim standpoint, you will have a good probability of winning the MVP and a confirmed probability of getting excellent production from your quarterback and your wide receivers. Not the best for your running back, like I said. Usually your running back will be more of an all-purpose back, regardless of who they are. You could probably have Trent Richardson back here. You still have 800 rushing, 600 receiving, but over 1,000 and over double-digit touchdowns usually. But you get a prolific offense and you build that XP quickly. So it is something that I, you know, like I said at the very top of the video, I'm probably going to ban doing this in any of my rebuilds, unless I want to get funky again, go with that Chip Kelly style. But like I said, if you guys want to build up your offense very, very quickly, you want to have, you know, prolific offense, get as much XP as humanly possible, as well as giving your quarterback a very probable opportunity to become the MVP and reap those XP awards just by going to your offense and changing it to spread and giving yourselves a spread playbook is really, really going to help. Also, obviously, try to make sure that your quarterback, your preferred quarterback to your coach's scheme, lines up with whatever quarterback you have. I haven't really found a relation between balance, pocket passer, big arm, anything like that to the spread. Just make sure that those two line up between your coach and what your player actually is. And, you know, there you go. There's a way to cheese the Madden 18 system. And with how much cheese is in this, I'm lactose intolerant now. You can use any shortcut that should be there. So there you go, guys. Thank you for watching. If you learned anything from this today, hit that like button. Subscribe if it's your first time stopping by. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.